The morning sun over the desert was sharp, but not nearly as sharp as my son's voice when I stepped out of the car. "Mom, stop right there. Don't walk closer. You ruin every family picture." His words landed so casually, like he had practiced them in the mirror. I froze beside the driveway, gripping my purse, pretending the sting behind my ribs wasn't real. My future daughter-in-law, Savannah, strutted over in her bright red coat, eyeing me up and down with the same disgust she'd use for a cracked window. "Meredith, please, stand back. Far back. You look like you crawled here through a dust storm," she said, waving her hand like she was shooing away an animal. Behind her, my granddaughter Belle had her phone lifted high, live streaming. She angled her camera toward me with a smirk. "Grandma looks like she survived a wind tornado," as she laughed, while comments rolled in from strangers who didn't even know me but were already mocking me. I swallowed hard. I didn't want to cry. I didn't want them to say I was being dramatic again. Today, I promised myself I would keep quiet, behave, and not ruin the holiday. But then Trent, my son-in-law, walked right past me as if I didn't exist. "If she gets into any frame, delete her. Better yet, Photoshop her out before we even start," he told the photographer, loud enough for the kids running in the yard to hear. My chest tightened. I stood there, forcing myself still. The only reason I had agreed to come today was because they told me I needed to sign something for the shoot. Something illegal, they said. Something that required my signature because my name was on the rental contract. I didn't understand why, but I didn't want conflict. Savannah shoved a clipboard at me. "Sign it over there," she ordered, pointing toward the trash bins by the far wall. "We don't want you appearing in any of the candid shots." Her voice carried that sweet tone she used only for strangers, not for me. Fine, I thought. I would sign, stay out of the way, and survive this morning. But as I stood in that corner, reading fine print I could barely see, a steady male voice broke through the silence. "You don't need to stand here." I turned to see the photographer, a young man with dark tied-back hair and steady eyes. His name was Asher. He didn't look at me with pity, but with something else. Awareness. Attention. Almost recognition. Before I could respond, Trent barked, as she stands where we say. "Just do your job, camera boy." And that was when I saw it. The moment Trent raised his hand toward my shoulder, as if to shove me further against the bins, Asher stepped forward so fast the air shifted. "Don't touch her." That sentence, that tone, that moment, was the beginning of everything. Asher's voice cut through the tense courtyard like a blade. "Don't touch her." Trent froze mid-gesture, his hand suspended awkwardly in the air. Savannah spun sharply toward Asher, her face tightening. Colton muttered, "What is his problem?" as if Asher's refusal to let them shove me against a trash bin was somehow unreasonable. Asher stepped closer, calm but fierce. His eyes flicked from Trent to Belle's live-streaming phone to the clipboard in my trembling hands. He had been watching everything, every insult, every dismissal, every attempt to shove me out of existence. Savannah scoffed. "She stands where we tell her. Just keep her out of the frame." But Asher didn't even look at her. He looked at me. "You don't belong here," he said softly. For a moment, I thought he meant I didn't belong in the picture, just like my family kept repeating. But the slight shake of his head told me otherwise. "You shouldn't be standing next to garbage bins," he clarified quietly. I felt something inside me wobble, shocked by this tiny piece of human decency that felt like warmth after years of cold. But Trent, never one to let kindness survive, barked, "Back off, camera boy." She's being dramatic. Take the picture. Belle's livestream chat exploded with comments mocking me. Savannah leaned into Asher with a smirk. You think you get to tell us what to do? You're hired help. Asher finally turned his gaze toward her. His voice stayed calm, almost disturbingly so. I'm not just the photographer. Savannah rolled her eyes. Oh right, you're the lighting expert too? How many jobs do you do for one paycheck? Asher's jaw flexed. I'm the property owner. Silence spread so fast even the desert wind paused. What? Trent croaked. This villa? This entire rental property? It's mine, Asher said, holding up a tablet. And I already have multiple reports about your behavior. Damage. Verbal harassment. Repeated violations. My family stared at him, stunned, not because they were guilty, but because consequences had finally found them. Then Asher looked at me again, softer this time. Mrs. Hale, is your signature on this contract? Confusion rattled me. My signature? I thought I signed as a witness. Asher nodded slowly, as if confirming something terrible he already suspected. That's what I needed to know. And before anyone could react, he lifted the tablet, revealing a highlighted contract page with my name listed as the primary responsible party. Savannah's fake confidence cracked. Colton whispered, Mom, what did you do? But the truth was simple. I didn't do anything. They did. Rehook. Because Asher hadn't come here just to take photos, he'd come to expose the one truth my family had buried for years. And I didn't yet know he had been carrying that truth since childhood. People love simple villains. And when they can't find one, they make one. That villain was me. Standing in the courtyard, with my signature glowing on Asher's tablet like a scar, every twisted lie began to unravel. As the contract states, Asher said, she, not you, was left responsible for every cost, including damages, late fees, and stolen items. My mouth opened helplessly. I didn't sign anything like that. I thought. You thought you were witnessing. I know. Asher cut in gently. But they substituted your signature page. Someone replaced the document. Savannah's voice shook. Anyone could have signed her name. Maybe the agency messed up. No, Asher replied firmly. Because the handwriting on that page matches yours. He turned his eyes directly to Savannah. My heart seemed to stop. Forgery. Manipulation. Betrayal. And still, they denied everything. Colton jumped in. She wanted to help. Don't twist this. A bitter laugh escaped me before I could stop it. Help? You told me it was just a witness signature. Colton flinched, because he knew that was true. He just didn't expect me to say it aloud. Asher continued, flipping through more documents. Emailed insults. Late payments. Damage charges. Requests asking if the old desert burden could be removed from responsibility. Every page cut deeper. And then the memories resurfaced. The lie about how I had kidnapped a Colton when he was 6, even though I had carried him barefoot through the night to escape his violent father. The cruel rumor Savannah spread that I had sold my car for attention, though I sold it to pay her hospital bill. The way Belle twisted every act of guidance into a negativity for the sake of followers. The countless small humiliations, jokes, dismissals, until I learned to fold myself smaller and smaller, hoping to fit into whatever shape they demanded. My voice wavered. You all hated me long before today. No one spoke. Because silence is easier to give than remorse. Asher watched them closely, the muscle in his jaw tightening as each truth surfaced. Something in his expression held recognition, like he had seen this type of cruelty before, lived in rooms where voices cut deeper than knives. But then he looked at me with gentleness that almost broke me. Mrs. Hale, none of this is your fault. I hadn't heard those words in years. Medium white star rehook. But what Asher revealed next wasn't about contracts, or bills, or insults. It was about a moment from 20 years ago that connected our lives long before this photo shoot began. The courtyard shifted when Asher stepped away and returned holding a thin black case. He opened it slowly, almost reverently. Inside was a faded photograph. A woman, hair wild, face streaked with soot, carrying a terrified young boy out of a burning house. My throat closed. I knew that image. I had lived that night. A burning porch. A screaming child. Smoke stinging my eyes as I wrapped him in my coat. My voice cracked. That's me. Asher nodded, swallowing hard. I was that boy. The world tilted. My knees softened. He took a step closer, voice low. I never forgot your face. Or your voice. The woman who kept saying you're safe now, sweetheart, even when the fire was at your back. My eyes blurred. I hadn't heard that word, sweetheart, in years. Not spoken gently. That night changed my entire life, he continued. Because of you, I got out. Because of you, I survived. Suddenly, the reason he stepped in. The reason his voice broke earlier. The reason he protected me. Everything made sense. Savannah stammered, You're lying. This is some sympathy stunt. But Asher turned sharply. Sympathy? You humiliated the woman who saved my life. The crowd murmured. He lifted the photograph again. You treated her like trash. The woman who risked everything for a child she didn't even know. Colton looked away. Belle shut off her live stream. Trent's face turned pale. Asher's hand trembled slightly, not with fear, but with emotion long buried. I've been looking for her for 20 years, he said softly. And today, in the cruelest twist, I found her here, cornered by her own family. My heart broke in a way I didn't know it still could. I whispered, barely audible. You remembered me. Asher nodded. I owe you more than I could ever repay. And then he turned toward my family, his entire demeanor shifting, softness gone, replaced by a cold resolve. Now, he said, it's time for consequences. Medium white star rehook. Because the moment after Asher revealed who he was, he pressed play on a recording that none of them ever expected would be heard by anyone else. Asher walked toward the patio speakers and connected his tablet. A tap. A soft click. And suddenly, the entire courtyard filled with their voices. Colton. She's dead weight. If she disappeared, life would be easier. Savannah. She's like a stray dog we can't get rid of. Belle. Grandma kills the vibe. Content goes downhill whenever she appears. Trent. Just crop her out of reality. Gasps spread through the guests. Neighbors shifted uncomfortably. Cousins stepped away from my children like stepping away from a stain. Aunt Lair whispered, Meredith. I didn't know. Uncle Rowan murmured, this is shameful. My family scrambled to recover. Colton shouted, This is out of context. Asher turned, eyes burning. There is no context in which wishing your own mother dead is acceptable. Savannah's voice rose, desperate. It was private venting. Private cruelty is still cruelty, Asher replied coldly. Belle clutched her phone. You can't show this. I'll lose followers. Asher ignored her. He tapped again. A second audio file played. Colton's voice again, calmer, more deliberate. My mom is useless. One day she'll die and I'll get some peace. The courtyard froze. For once, my son couldn't look at me. Not even to lie. Asher stepped between us, shielding me from their stares. They have treated you like this for years, he said. But today, the truth is no longer hidden. For the first time, I stood upright, not from pride, but from a tired strength rising slowly inside me. Everything they had done in the dark was finally dragged into the light. Medium white star rehook. And Asher wasn't finished, because exposing their words was only the beginning. He was about to take away the one thing they valued most, control. Asher lifted a hand and the courtyard quieted instantly. This session is over, he announced. Savannah sputtered. You can't do that. We paid for this. He held up the contract. Clause 9. Abusive conduct toward staff or protected seniors voids the agreement. Clause 14. Damage and theft result in immediate termination. He nodded toward Trent. You broke both. Trent stepped forward as if to intimidate him, but Asher didn't budge. You have 30 minutes to vacate the property. Belle shrieked. 30 minutes? You're ruining our Christmas. No, Asher replied. You ruined your own Christmas the moment you chose cruelty. Then he dropped the bomb. All reports will be filed today. Savannah paled. What reports? Asher lifted the tablet again. Elder abuse recordings. Forgery evidence. Property vandalism. Insurance manipulation. Theft footage from the villa. Harassing emails sent by Trent. Each page appeared like a hammer falling on their carefully constructed lies. Colton stammered, But are our jobs. They will also receive reports, Asher confirmed. Belle gasped like she had been slapped. My college admission. Actions have consequences, he said without remorse. And then, as if fate itself wanted justice, videos filmed by guests began pinging phones across the courtyard. It's already online, as someone whispered. Thousands of views. People are furious. Belle dropped her phone, her social media world crumbling instantly. Savannah shook her head in disbelief. This can't be happening. But it was. And for the first time in years, it wasn't happening to me. I simply stood quietly, letting it unfold. Letting truth speak for itself. Medium white star rehook. But Asher still had more to give, not punishment, but a gift. Something he had been saving for 20 years. After everyone left, Asher approached me gently. Mrs. Hale, he said, come with me. I want to show you something. His jeep rumbled down a desert road glowing under the sunset. My hands twisted in my lap. I didn't know what he wanted to show me, but for the first time in decades, I didn't feel scared. We stopped outside a modern adobe building lit with warm golden light. This is the Voss Gallery, he said. Tonight, it's yours. My breath caught. Inside, the world slowed. Along the far wall hung a massive framed portrait, a photograph of me carrying that soot-covered child out of a burning home. It was breathtaking and heartbreaking. The caption read, "The woman who saved me." I touched the frame with trembling fingers. "Asher, how long has this been here?" "Years," he said softly. "I built my entire career because of this moment. This photo won a national competition. It got me my scholarship. It started everything." Tears blurred my vision. "You kept it, all this time?" "I kept you," he whispered. Journalists entered quietly. Neighbors followed. Former students. People who had known me long before my family tried to erase who I was. One of them smiled. "We've wanted to meet you for years. You're known around here as the Mojave Guardian." Me? A guardian? I had spent so long believing I was a burden that hearing those words hurt in a healing way. A small child tugged my sleeve. "Grandma Meredith, can you be in our photo?" Not pushed aside. Not hidden by bins. Not erased. They placed me in the center. The flash glowed. My heart warmed. For the first time in years, I felt seen. Rehook. But Asher wasn't done. He had one last surprise, one that would change where I woke up every morning for the rest of my life. When the gallery emptied, Asher walked me outside. "Mrs. Hale," he said tenderly, "there's one last place I want you to see." The desert night was cool, the stars scattered like silver dust. His jeep followed a winding dirt road until a warm glow appeared on the horizon. A small cabin. Simple. Beautiful. Peaceful. "What is this?" I whispered. Asher stopped the engine. "This is home." My voice trembled. "Whose home?" "Yours," he said, steady and certain. I shook my head. "I can't accept something like." "You can," he insisted. "After everything you've carried alone, you deserve a place where no one raises their voice at you. A place without cruelty. Without fear." Inside, the cabin felt like a dream. A knitted blanket draped over the sofa. Warm lights. Simple wooden shelves. A kitchen ready to use. A bedroom with soft linen. Everything spoke one truth. You deserve peace. I touched the arm of a chair gently. I haven't had a home where I felt welcome in a long time. You have one now, Asher said. And no one can take it from you. He lifted his camera one last time. May I take a picture? One just for you. I stood in the doorway as warm light spilled behind me. The desert breeze brushed my hair. I didn't force a smile. I simply existed. The shutter clicked. Asher turned the screen toward me. For the first time in years, I recognized the woman looking back. Not old. Not a burden. Not invisible. Just alive. Rehook. But the story didn't end with a cabin. It ended with a message, one I never thought I'd say out loud, to anyone. We stepped outside the cabin, the porch light glowing like a promise in the dark. I wrapped my arms around myself, not from cold, but from a strange new warmth forming in my chest. Asher, I whispered, why do all this for me? He looked out toward the dunes, thoughtful. Because when I was a child, you were the only person who saw me. The only one who ran toward danger, not away from it. You gave me a chance at life. He turned to me. Now it's my turn to give you a chance at peace. I didn't know how to carry such a gift. My life had been spent shrinking, apologizing, staying quiet. Now someone was telling me I deserved comfort. Safety. Home. When he finally drove away, leaving me in that quiet oasis, I stood under the stars with a heart too full to speak. The cabin hummed softly, as if welcoming me. Inside, I sat on the couch, hands trembling, and whispered, "You're allowed to exist, Meredith." It felt strange, unfamiliar, like hearing a song I forgot I used to love. Later, I turned on a small recorder, something Asher left behind for messages or journaling. I clicked record. And the words came. If my story finds you. If you've ever felt unseen. If you've ever been treated as less. As an inconvenience. As background noise. My voice wavered, but I kept going. Know this. Your worth is not decided by the loudest voices in the room. Especially when those voices are cruel. I looked at the door, glowing softly. I thought my family defined me. But today I learned. Family isn't blood. Family is who stands beside you when others try to break you. The desert wind rustled the roof gently. And wherever you are listening from, Grandma loves you, dear. You deserve peace, too. I ended the recording. My story wasn't perfect. It wasn't soft. It wasn't clean. But it was mine. And for the first time in decades, I felt ready to keep living it. Rehook. One final part remains, the true ending. Not about pain, not about justice, but about freedom. The first morning in the cabin, sunlight slipped through the curtains in a gentle beam, warm and soft. I woke without dread, without someone shouting, without whispers about how I ruined everything. Just silence. Peace. A beginning. I brewed tea slowly, savoring each step. The desert air flowed through the window like a blessing. Outside, the porch held a single rocking chair with a knitted cushion, left there purposely, lovingly. I Saturday. For decades, I lived by bending myself smaller. By apologizing for existing. By letting their cruelty convince me I didn't matter. But here, on this quiet porch, something in me expanded again. I realized. They never hated me because I was weak. They hated me because I survived things they could never bear. They hated the strength they pretended didn't exist. And now, I wasn't trapped in their house, or their lies, or the role they assigned me. I was free. Later that afternoon, a knock sounded gently. Asher stood there holding groceries, smiling like someone who hadn't forgotten a childhood miracle. "Everything okay?" he asked. I nodded. "More than okay." He helped me put things away, then paused at the door. "Mrs. Hale, the world saw the videos. People are reaching out. Not to mock you, but to thank you. To support you." My eyes widened. He handed me a tablet showing messages. "You're a hero. You deserved better. Stay strong, Grandma. We love you." Millions of voices. Strangers who cared more than my own blood ever did. I pressed a hand to my heart. Asher smiled. "You saved me. Now you are saving countless others." When he left, I stepped onto the porch again. The desert stretched endlessly. Quiet. Beautiful. Mine. I whispered into the wind. I am not invisible. And for the first time in my life, I believed it.